This week in league, despite moving on a granny fucking Skeletor with a Rona death wish, the Brisbane Broncos have still managed to decisively lose the coach trade.
Mary dubs Corey Norman the belt as he attempts to become the Hutchins of NRL coaches.
Ben Ikin throws his name into the Broncos CEO race, claiming his brother-in-law could do a better job than Lockie.
Plus, we look ahead to all the action for round 14 of the 2020 NRL season.
All that more this week in league. Welcome to episode 363 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
How you doing, man?
We are responsibly distanced again.
We are. It wasn't going to be a remote one this week. I am sick as a fucking dog. So just to be on the... Well, and you know what? It's not even a matter of like Rona mania or Rona fear, because it's not that. But I just as last was it last week or the week before? I just don't want to step on the fuck game, especially now your shit's all manscaped up nice and everything like that. I just don't want to disrespect the fuck game.
Look, you know, I won't go into too much detail and bring everybody down. But my fuck game has been reined in like the man from fucking Snowy River is riding on me. So. You know, I appreciate you not making me sick, though. That would still fucking suck. And yeah, exactly. I am still freshly manscaped, and that's fucking awesome. Because you know what? I don't do that for anyone else but me.
Oh, okay, because you're worth it. Is that what you're saying?
I'm fucking trash. But it makes my dick look bigger.
And I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome new listeners to the show. We're actually getting a lot of new listeners coming into the show of late, and so wherever you're getting the word spread, don't be quiet on the socials. Let us know where you're actually coming from, because it's just very interesting to see the growth of the show, and always very interested to see where people are coming from. As a result of being sick as a dog this week, I do not want to be editing this fucking thing all night tonight. So this is going to be a legitimate express episode, but I say that now knowing that there is so much to talk about with the Brisbane Broncos that this express episode could top out like 4 hours of just talking about the Broncos, or you know, schadenfreude the Broncos, or just shitting on them, whatever you want to say. It's funny today, passing some of the time while I was laid up in bed sick, I found this. It's a popular show in Japan called Hajime no Otsukai, which is basically translate to My First Errand, and came across it showing the kids, like, you know, trying to, you know, show them like how responsible other children can be around the world and all that sort of thing, and taking care of their business. And this show is a great segue for the Broncos, because this show is about little kids that are like 4 or 5 years old going on their first errand. And these little kids at that age, they will get on a fucking train and go to school by themselves, leave the home and just go to school each day and come back home. But this one, like, the parents give these little kids an errand, and it's like, you know, I'm making something for dinner, so I need you to get this, and this, and then the kids got to, you know, they're trying to think of it. They don't give them a list. They got to think about it. They got to go down the shop. They got to remember the stuff to buy, and it's just funny to see these little kids, like, you know, how they actually deal with it. And the thing is about this show that brings it back around to the rugby league world is every episode and scenario I have watched of this show, where these little kids that are barely fucking bigger than toddlers going to the grocery store to buy various shit. Every single one of them, without exception, shows more responsibility for their fucking actions than these overpaid cunts at Red Hill. So, nice. Firstly, which one do we fucking start on? Do we start on Pangai, or do we start on Siebes? The fact that we've got like 4 or 5 different scenarios just from the one club to speak about alone.
Can we please start with Siebes? Because I think it's important to get out of the way that as we go in on this cunt here, it is nothing to do with all of the fucking DM rumours that have gone around. I counted in a day, I was sent 7 different screenshots that
purporting
all went
to be
along.
the friend of a friend who's in the know.
Well, it's always just spoke to a mate whose mate works at insert company name here.
Or could insert a major sponsor or insert whatever.
Media, whatever it is.
Yep.
So, and then the phrase, so you know it's legit, or so you know it's accurate, or so you know it's...
But these things as well, we've seen these for every, there's been so many, like every year there's a group of these that go around about something. Every year. And like not as salacious as the ones this time, or creative.
Then I've heard... Yeah, but I've heard a couple of overarching issues that he has family troubles, you know?
Yeah.
And in that situation, no one knows what it is. What we do know is that we have Siebes, we have his wife, and we have a young girl, and the wife and young girl uprooted their lives and followed him in him chasing his career aspirations.
Yeah. And in a rather hurried fashion as well, because they had a year's notice. Yes. And that was accelerated to, immediately.
That's it. And that's where the struggle is. So on that side of things, I just want to separate that part of his story and make no comment on that, and really hope that all those people sort their shit out, because that's a shitty place to be.
And also, I would don't be dumping it in our stuff either, because, as we've seen over the last 24 hours, he's an angry. I mean, we've known for all season he's an angry little ant. Now he's a litigious little ant, and I just don't want you guys to fuck yourselves up over. And
put it this way, like, thanks to our new sponsors, Manscaped, I'd get fucking passed around like currency if I end up in the slammer. But I want to separate that side of things and what's going on, but also point out that having a shitty personal situation go on doesn't excuse you from criticism for the obvious fucking failings in doing your job that preceded said terrible and tragic issues.
Yeah, because I mean, what you need to look at, you have to look at the facts of the situation, and just look at it from a player unity. Like, even take the results out of the equation, and you just look at the actual things we know about. Like, so we had the David Fafita situation, a guy who wanted to play his entire career out at the Brisbane Broncos, electing to go down the road to the Titans. Yep. For not that much more money. The Broncos and Lockyer, they want to make it all about the money, but I mean, it wasn't that much that it was, a life-changing thing either way, especially when you had an equally or, similarly large number offered by the Rabbits as well. Then you look at the implosion of Pangai. Yep. Which seems to be just that classic, I need to get the fuck out of my contract kind of behaviour. Then you had Stagg saying that he wants to get the fuck out of there. You got Darius Boyd, who, by all, for all intents and purposes, should feel grateful he's still in the side, but him publicly jumping out of the leadership group. Yep. There's all of these things are not isolated incidents that come out of the blue.
Not at all. Not at all. The interesting thing here, and I want to point out as well, fuck the mainstream media going on about how, now that he's gotten lawyers involved, how he needs to look after his mental health and everyone needs to back off, and how terrible are these internet trolls. The fucking media love going after the internet trolls, cowardly internet trolls. When the day before, Fox Sports published an article with the headline, Seabold paranoid to the back teeth. So.
And what was that? And what were the telltale signs of this paranoia that we're talking about? What was it actually addressing?
So he's paranoid to the back teeth about Kevin Walters.
Oh, okay.
It has been claimed No, that's their favourite phrase. It has been claimed.
Well, yeah.
And now you get stuff like, Wally Lewis has come out and he's talking about the strange training sessions they had.
Yeah, where it didn't look like the players really had much of an idea of what was actually going on, and see that and I don't think that Wally particularly has an axe to grind with Seabold. I mean, he's a journalist, etc. And maybe I'm probably certain enough water's gone under the bridge for him not to have an axe to grind against the Broncos anymore either as a club. I mean, because we must be coming up on like fucking 30 years since that.
I think Wally Lewis firmly belongs to that school, where even if he does have an axe to grind, he understands that he has a place within Queensland Rugby League.
Yeah.
And so do the Broncos.
Yeah.
So under the surface, he may secretly still fucking hate the club and the way they treated him at the end.
But I mean, he's not motivated to say the things he said by that. He's doing it as just straight as an immortal and like a rugby league stalwart, just speaking on what he's seen.
Yeah, that's it. So all that's happened is Wally's gone out to the training and said, "Yeah, they really don't look like they're enthused or that they know what they're doing out there."
Yeah. And he's gone out there in what his capacity of being like, Channel 9 or Channel 7.
Yeah, that's it.
Whatever he is, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Seabold, though, for his part, like while we're talking about the things that are going on, he's had the family issues thing, so he stayed in Sydney past the departure of the side itself, and as a result, that put him outside of the bubble, so now he has to deal with, while he hasn't done anything wrong per se, he does have to still serve like a detox quarantine period of 2 weeks before he's back in the bubble.
Yes.
So that's him out of the road. And let's face it, the Broncos they'll be doing very fucking well to have anybody left inside the bubble, depending on the way the story goes. We'll get to some of that. I mean, they've already lost Alfie and a couple of trainers, which is not surprising at all. And the Caxton Hotel, though, is now under police investigation for licensing breaches after they apparently snuck him in the back door for birthday celebrations. And not only snuck him in, they're also looking to see if they actually turned off the CCTV cameras and
Jesus Christ.
and turned off or didn't use the ID scanners for contact tracing to smuggle these guys in. Which is and for people who don't know what the Caxton is, it's an iconic pub on Caxton Street, a mere block from Suncorp Stadium or Lang Park, and it's traditionally like associated with Queensland Rugby League, and it's like
it was where when the New South Wales team buses used to drive down Caxton Street on the way to the ground.
Yeah, where the drunks would pelt cans and things at the buses.
Yeah, they'd be chucking cans at the windows of the buses. It's a very important spiritual place to rugby league.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see what comes of this and what happens to Pangai versus what happens to Alfie.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, Alfie's had $5,000 fine. and so did the other staff members, Ryan Whitley and Blake Duncan. So they got the 2 weeks quarantine.
Yep.
And they've got a $5,000 fine each. Then this additional article obviously speaks to potential criminal consequences for the Caxton in bypassing COVID things that they should have as a licensed venue. Now with Pangai, his situation was that he said that he went to get a haircut at the opening of a barber's shop. It just so happened that this barber shop was associated to the Mongols bike gang.
Allegedly
though. But the point with the allegedly is that it was under the police surveillance.
Yes.
As a result of this, and raided, and then so that's how that's how his presence there was found, and he said he was there to get a haircut. Apparently, CCTV says that that's not the case, and he was actually taking a signed jersey down there. But he's been stood down.
Look, you know what?
Indefinitely by the NRL.
I take my barber little fucking gifts all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I've picked up some pops from you.
Yep.
and taken it to my barber.
Yeah, and actually, that's how I pay my barber too.
Now, if the police raided his barbershop, that doesn't mean I wasn't there for a haircut. It means I didn't get a chance to have a haircut because the fucking police raided his barbershop.
Yeah, but be that as it may, that's all semantics, because the fact is it was outside the bubble and not a permitted stop for him to make, and so he's apparently been issued with a breach notice that alleges he's breached the COVID protocols numerous times. He's indefinitely stood down by the NRL, and he's been fined $30,000 for breaching the COVID rules. As a player who has showed a disregard and multiple contraventions of the protocols.
So what did Cleary get? 20 grand.
He got it was 10 and then 10 though, because like he lied the second time, right? Like
for the porky pies. That's it.
It was 10, then he bullshit, and then they doubled it. I think
that's it.
So, but the other thing about the Pangai situation is that reports yesterday were claiming that he was going to get his contract ripped up by the club. That hasn't eventuated yet, and the Broncos have come out and said they haven't done that yet. But who knows?
Who does know?
It doesn't look good.
I'll tell you what, I don't care who knows, because it's fucking glorious.
It is glorious.
Absolutely
And
glorious.
You know what? And the part that's even better about it is there was all that media speculation and promotion of the fact that he had a meeting with Uncle Nick from the Roosters last week or the week before. And today, Trent Robinson comes out and says, yeah, he's not coming to East. He's not the type of player that we're cultivating at this club. And look, while I respect Trent Robinson and I do believe that he believes what he's saying, I mean, I don't think that he could contravene anything that Uncle Nick wanted if that was actually to come to it. And finally, with the Broncos though, before we can start speaking on all of it, the next thing that happened, apparently earlier this month, I think it was on the 1st of August, up to 10 Broncos players attended the Everton Park Hotel and may have breached COVID protocols. Now, the Broncos' position is that the players went to the restaurant of the hotel, and they were, and it was when the bubble thing was relaxed for Queenslanders. They'd served 14 days or whatever after coming back from Cronulla. So it was the day after that, and so then they were getting together and going to restaurants, no problem. And the clubs and the clubs notified the NRL, and they've said, look, we don't see this as a problem. However, there's it was reported by an eyewitness that told the Courier Mail that they were drinking in the sports bar. And while they are allowed to go to restaurants, they are not allowed to go to bars and pubs. And so that is where they can come. And then furthermore, it appears that the players gave false names for the registry for the contact tracing at the venue as well. And
that's fucked up.
Yeah. And it's fucked up for the Broncos, and it's fucked up for but it's more fucked up for footy, because the Premier, Palaszczuk, she has been fairly accommodating to rugby league in the face of very strict rules that Queensland itself has. Yes. But she's only going to take so much of their shit. And so what they're doing is it's like I see what's happening here. The Broncos are absolutely careening unstoppably. They're pumping the brakes, and the brakes don't work anymore, and they're heading straight for that fucking brick wall of wooden spoon, first wooden spoon in the club's history. The fans love it. The club loves it. They love this never had a wooden spoon narrative that they haven't won shit for fucking ages, but they haven't never had a wooden spoon.
Yep, that's it.
How do you avoid a wooden spoon?
Yeah, tank the season.
Well, you can't. Ordinarily, you can't. But we're in the COVID era. We got the Rona. Yeah. We can take the entire fucking season. Yeah. Get the season shut down. No spoon.
If that happened, let's say Palaszczuk comes out and says every exemption I had for rugby league is now gone. Yep. Then Volandis, as quick as you fucking like, just says, cool.
Queensland
Broncos, Titans, Cowboys, Storm. you got, whatever she said it is, you've got a week to organise Sydney. So get down here, or you're gone.
Yep.
We'll still pay you for the season, and we'll still do all of this stuff, yada yada yada. But this is what you got to do if you want to keep competing. And then hopefully the Broncos just don't do it, and so they get the spoon by default.
Yeah.
But as long as they fucking get it, I'll be happy. Quick segue though into the fact that I'm continuously impressed, and I understand that what I see on social media is a very small component, of A, our listenership, and B,
the rugby league
community
in general,
at large. It is a vocal minority, but the response to the Broncos players and other players using fake names at COVID registries, has warmed my heart. Add to that, you get decrepit fuckwits like Paul Crawley having a fucking issue with things like this, with the Wayne Bennett thing and the Paul Vaughan thing, and railing on a nation of dobbers, and taking issue with the fact that people were actually saying, hey, no, I saw this person here. What's going on? People are fucking dying, cunt. How do you look at this? And people are dropping dead. They're losing their livelihood. Mental health issues are at an all-time high in the country because of external stresses.
Yep.
And people don't want to follow the fucking rules. And you've got an issue with the people saying, no, there needs to be deterrence for that and penalties need to be served. Fuck you. Absolute piece of shit, Crawley.
Hey, look, while yeah, I agree with you. Let's not divert the function, let's not divert the ire away from who really needs it. The Brisbane Broncos.
Correct.
Their players, their coaching staff, administration, and fan base.
Their issue on the field for a lot of last year, when they weren't performing, was that they had no direct leadership, and now that's obviously their issue as a whole club. They're border fucking useless. Their coaching staff's divided. How fucking shit is it that the playing group in that place, with their current results, seems to be the most united part of that club?
Yep.
It's going to be a very expensive fucking payout when they need to get rid of Seabold and do it. So.
Yeah, exactly. That Everton Park Hotel situation, that's still pending, and by the time you're listening to this show, or maybe tomorrow, it should be resolved or otherwise. And I guess at the end of the day, I mean, they can say that they believe. I've been to the Everton Park Hotel before, and there is like a restaurant sort of area, but I mean, it's not separated from the pub.
Yeah, no.
It's like there's a dining area in the pub, but if you want to order food and stuff, you've got to order at the counter. Like, so there's I don't understand unless there's some other, they've got like the front bar sort of section, and they've got the back area, which with the beer garden and stuff like that. You still got to be like, it's a pub. There's no separate restaurant thing attached to it, from what I've seen. I mean, I've only been there one time. I mean, it's not that great, let's be honest. I mean, I was there because it was a central point between like three different parties that were all meeting. But, so, and with CCTV and all that sort of stuff being what it is, I mean, if they want to get these guys and absolutely fuck them up, then they're going to do it. They've got the ability to conclusively prove what was going on. And you would think if it's true that they put fake names and things like that on, then that alone is like
that alone is enough for some sort of penalty. Yeah,
it's certainly enough for Palaszczuk to have her.
Yeah, and then all of that shit aside, even if Palaszczuk does nothing, if there's, I wonder if the stand downs a reply to everyone that was there. Who do they field? We might legit see the babiest baby Broncos ever.
Yeah, because I don't know off the top of my head what their current injury sort of level is, but you take another 10 guys straight out of the mix, and let's assume that Pangai is not one. Let's say if he's not one of those guys, then that's 11.
Yep. You would assume.
I think they've come out and said that. Who did they say? Fuck. I don't have it in front of me. I can't remember. I know Brody Croft and someone else, like Ben Teo or someone. Maybe they were two that were said to not be there.
That is fucking hilarious. Imagine the only standing one is Brody Croft.
Yeah.
Be still my beating penis.
So he's left standing and Ben Teo's left standing. So there's another 10.
Yep.
So let's say that Pangai's not involved. That's your starting lineup all gone.
Yeah.
You've still got a bench and you've still got some guys in the top squad, but yeah, looks pretty dire.
Yeah,
looks pretty dire.
Far out.
And I couldn't be more pleased with it. I mean, while I know some Broncos fans that are fine people who I fucking love.
Yeah.
As a general, if I want to generalize, the fan base as a whole fucking deserves this.
Oh, look,
the club as a whole.
One of the people that I love more than anybody else in the entire world, right,
is Millicent Broncos fan,
and also a massively important family member to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, two family members. One of them's not so much a footy fan. Are Broncos fans, and to them I say, let the fist of karma go elbow deep. It's very fucking simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's look. I don't know. I look at this shit and I just see so many ways to avoid it. Like, how hard is it to have one person in the club who? This is what happens in normal organisations. New regulations come in. They nominate a person who then has a team of people, and they go and become subject matter experts on the regulation.
Mm-hmm.
They then put in policies, and they then put in, procedures that stop breaches from happening. So in this instance, and this was just off the top of my head while we were talking, you would get a couple of people at the club, have them 100% familiar with the Project Apollo rules, and you just say to all of the players that any outside socialising needs to be put through these people first, and they need to basically chaperone. Because we're not saying you're all fucking frittatas that can't be trusted to do the right thing. We're not saying that at all. Some people have said that. We're not saying that. However, these rules are so open to interpretation. Like, even if they'd use their correct names on the COVID register,
yeah.
What does not going to a bar mean? Like you were alluding to before, they're not separated. Does that mean you can go to the restaurant?
Especially when you can go to restaurants and cafes and things like that, and I'm sure.
Yeah. So you can go to the steak restaurant at the Newmarket Hotel. Yeah. However, there's no barriers. The bar is over the other side of the room. Can you walk to that bar to get a drink? Or must you only sit at your table and order the drinks to your table? Who knows?
Or is that considered a pub?
Exactly. So that's not for you to, that's not for you to decide as players. We have these people who are experts. That's why they're going to fucking go with you. Solves all this shit. Just fucking solves it. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can go to a cafe and guess what? You can buy, if the cafe's licensed, you can drink beers at the cafe.
That's it.
You know what I mean? It's just, there are so many base levels of just stupidity that go into the decision-making process of these idiots when they get themselves into these holes.
Yep.
And yeah, like I said, it could very easily avoided.
Put it this way, I know plenty of people in hospitality at the moment that had to deal with almost exactly the same thing when the regulations first came back about you can have this many people or that many people and you have to do this, and this. They had a whole bunch of new regulations to deal with really fucking quickly, and they got their head around it.
Exactly. Recaps. Okay, Thursday Night Football. The Roosters 24 defeated the Dragons 16 at Wynn Stadium. The Roosters 24 came through a double to Manu. Orbison, Tupanua and Kiri also with tries. Takeaho 2 of 3 conversions. The Dragons a double to Zach Lomax. Matthew Duffy with a try as well. And Lomax 2 of 3 conversions.
Yeah, it was a better start by the Dragons than I thought they'd...
I mean, the starts haven't really been the problem for them.
Exactly. And I thought against the Roosters they may have crumbled a little bit. But they stood up and stayed with the Roosters and hit back very, very well. But the Roosters continued this recent vein they had of just being a little bit clunky. And they've obviously got some huge fucking outs. And the guys that they've got out are the ones who have enough experience and enough skill to make the plays that are a little bit off in some places look smooth because they finish them so well. But, there are a couple of Kiri passes to Teddy that just weren't even close, and that's uncharacteristic from him. But then Kiri really showed his class, and I think he's almost having a bit of a forgotten season. There's been so much focus on obviously how well Cleary's playing. Hashtag Yuri of Cleary and Moses in the beginning of the season for Parramatta. There came that stage where Kiri just pretty much decided to take this game by the scruff of the neck. The fucking dummy for the Tupanua try. That was fucking all time. That was just pure fucking class, and it was smooth as shit.
Yeah.
The Dragons just didn't have the motor or the cohesion to go with them for the entire game, and the Roosters' quality shone through.
That's it. Hit some tweets. In the interest of having an earlier night, I'm not going to talk as much.
Ugh. Oh, you should have done that last week. Oh, no, week before. Penrith played Manly. Lando said, the worst of it is that now my rectum is taken to 90-degree angles. I'm just not getting the same kind of friction from the Mars bars as I used to. I think next week I'm going to start shelving Maltesers just for a bit of a change. Keep it fresh. There's still plenty of season left. Yes, there is. Tristan said, clever psychological ploy from Robinson to pick Hutchinson. Probably not much effect on the players on field, but as a Dragons fan, my heart skipped a beat and my Mars bar's hand flinched every time the commentator said his name. Alistair said, I hope Corey Norman never pulls on the red V again, the useless cunt. Well, there you go. Lomax for Origin, what a weapon. Fuck Ryan Hall, what an absolute liability. Yeah, fucking didn't he have an unhappy night? Mm-hmm. That was just absolute trash out there.
Oh, and talking about Ryan Hall, and that move he pulled and escaped suspension for it.
The twist of the knee?
Yeah,
that was fucking low.
What is it with the English players and people in general and just being cunts?
Yeah.
Like, how and the fuck he gets out of being suspended for that shit,
yeah.
Mate. Absolute dog. I don't care what Cleveland. A dog act of the highest magnitude.
Exactly, and it's not even. Look, I'd thought about that a couple of times after I'd seen it.
Yeah.
The only time that I could ever think that move would be close to excusable is if you could put it out that they were that close to the sideline, you thought you were going to somehow be able to put them into touch. That's the only thing, and in trying to put them into touch, you only had one leg and you twisted it, whatever. With how far infield he was, you're right, it was an absolute fucking dog act. We'll give the last one on this one to our good mate JDHD44. Said, watching Tristan Saylor kick accurately with good variance and decision making after enduring Corey Norman's spit and pray bombs for 2 years is boiling my piss. Now, that is the first time I've ever heard that phrase, and I have no idea whether it's good or bad.
It's a term of anger. So he's angry that Tristan Saylor can do this, yet he's been subjected to Corey Norman playing for the team for so long. The fact that he's had the position for so long. That's the part that's generating great anger or boiling his piss.
Ah, okay. I understand now. Thank you for that
Yeah.
cultural lesson. On piss.
Yeah, it's not an unheard of phrase, but it's not the most common one. So I mean, I don't blame you for not coming across it in the past. Where are we? Okay, pub game, pub sides. The Mighty Manly Seagulls 22 defeat the Warriors 26. Well, the Warriors tries, they had double to Patrick Herbert. Katoa, Jennings and Hiku with tries. Herbert with a conversion. Cody Nikarima with a conversion. Channel Harris-DeVita with a conversion. Manly's tries to Funa, Suli, Guacamole and George Tafua with 3 or 4 conversions to Garrick. A tremendously unlucky start to Manly, followed by a tremendously fucking shit delivery of rugby league for almost the entire duration of the game. I mean, the fact that they could have won this game is fucking disgusting. Warriors fans, you should feel extremely terrible about your side because you fucking suck and you're going to get destroyed this week. But Manly, you should feel fucking worse because of the fucking the performance that put out there to allow yourself to be in this situation. I'm not going to talk about all these players that are not good enough for first grade and need to be dropped because I just keep saying the same fucking names week in and week out. And I understand that there's an injury crisis afoot and everything like that. So, you know, there's not a lot to, you know, to draw upon. But there's just some people that just aren't good enough and are never going to be good enough, really. And like, you know, look, you know, we'll see the back of them in like in the back of them in like 2 weeks. But still, it's not fucking good enough if you have to, you know, when you need guys to come in and do the fucking job. I had great hopes for Albert Hopewade to make his debut, and I think that probably the fact that he's coming off an ACL, not that recently, but it'd be his first proper game after an ACL. I think that maybe the fact that it was pissing down might have robbed him of his debut. But it didn't. I mean, you can't scratch someone every fucking rainy day if they, you know what I mean. So at some point you got to throw the fucking guy in. The positives I would dwell on. Hamali Olakwatu was fucking great at the end of last season in the finals. When the cupboards were bare, and he played like a genius. Why he hasn't been fucking put in the squad this year to date, I do not understand. Because it's not like a debut or anything. I mean, he finished the season fucking great last year, and add that to the fact that he did that just coming in as like a debutant. This year, you've got Cade Cust in the side who's looking pretty settled. And in 20s, I mean, that was the combination, him and Cust. You know, he was, if you know, I would never say that Cust will ever be as good as Cliffy Lyons, but he would be the Beaver to Cade Cust Cliffy, you know, in that combination sort of thing. I mean, they had the combination. But just the energy and the fucking power and skill that he brought to the fucking to the game, it was fucking great. And like the last 20 minutes of that game, when, oh my god, imagine what fucking happens when you play the game in the 6 again single ref style of play at great speed, and everyone's just fucking rolling forward, you know. And then you see like guys like Kepi, who was great at the end of last year, hasn't been so good this year. He's smashing everyone that moves in defence and making like 4 tackles every set, and you know, from fucking marker. Then you got fucking Guacamole, you know, smashing it up and you know, looking for offloads, and he got his first try, which is great as well. I mean, that's the way you do it from fucking minute one, you dumb cunts. I mean, it's not a difficult game. You can actually succeed greatly at the game of rugby league in 2020 if the hooker just fucking plays the ball and gives it to a guy who's running onto the ball.
Yeah.
He gets up and plays the ball quickly, and then the hooker either runs it himself or fucking gives it to a guy who's backing up, running hard at the ball. So you can make 50 meters in 4 tackles without doing anything skillful. Yeah. If you just do that.
Yeah.
Just play
without throwing a cutout pass.
Yeah.
The scary thing for me looking at this one is that Manly had statistically an okay game. You know,
after the first, they pulled it kind of back after the first 20, 30 minutes.
Yep. But all game, Manly had 12 missed tackles. The Warriors had 34 missed tackles. 34 missed tackles. That's West Tigers and last year's Penrith Panthers numbers.
Yeah, but I mean, they did have sin bin situations and stuff like that, which can blow that figure out a little bit.
A little bit, but Manly just seemed to not really have any sort of intent in attack. That's where their issue is.
They legitimately didn't for the first 60 minutes of the game. Like, they didn't actually start playing really, and it was the golden period in the game for them when they were sort of playing the way that I'd like to see them play. Was like probably between the 50th and the 70th minute. They scored that last try with probably about at least 10 minutes left. I mean, they had plenty of time to go in again. And I mean, they should have had a man advantage for the rest of the game after the dog shot on fucking Marty. But how's Hetherington? He doesn't want to take any chances that he has to play Penrith. He's like, I know they said I don't have to play, and the Warriors are cool, I don't have to play, but let's make sure 4 weeks off. This comes in.
I would see that differently in that fuckhead cornrow fake tough guy who has the worst fucking hashtag on social media, hashtag Team Kapow. Guess what? Hetherington is now the fucking captain of hashtag Team Kapow.
Well, I mean, that hit...
hashtag hold his pocket.
You have to wonder what you have to do to get sent off in the modern game, though, because I mean that was the worst hit I've seen.
It was since fucking stepped him.
He didn't hang it up. He swung the arm full. He
hung an arm out.
He swung an arm full tilt to coat hanger the guy, and then just happened because he stepped him. Instead of getting him with his forearm, he got him with his fist. That was basically
your
the
fucking
difference.
glass-jawed fake tough guy went down quicker than a fucking subprime mortgage investment.
He was already down. That's why it was such a disgusting hit, like a la Soliola on Billy Slater, except Billy Slater's a cunt and deserves everything he gets. But but in any case, that's season over. I'm fucking glad I don't have to worry about the this asterisk fucking year any longer. And
comments on that one. We'll give the first one
move on to next year. Hit some tweets.
Real Dad Glenn said, "Misty eyes, broken hearts, just lost."
That's hilarious. When his team got flogged by the Warriors last week, flogged.
Yeah,
wasn't close.
Anthony said, "We just can't cover the injuries anymore. The guys like Liddell and Kepi coming in just don't cut the mustard. Custer's still the answer at 5'8". A little work on his kicking game and he can be potent. Also need to learn how to defend kicks better. George's wing is a gift. 2 tries in a game now. Time to change." Ben Dunn said, "No team that's lost to the Warriors in 2020 has gone on to win the premiership. Hashtag good stats." That is 100% true.
No team that's beaten the Warriors either has gone on to win the premiership, though, to be fair.
Shunter said, "What a great Panthers clubman Jack is. He made sure he took the bullshit let him play narrative and knocked his fucking head off, earning himself a holiday regardless of what Penrith said or did." Jai said, "The token Danny Levi scoot is a blight on the great game of rugby league." David said, "Elliott has played 21 games at fullback compared to Tommy Turbo's 18 over the past 2 years. Absolute fucking biscuit." I agree 100%.
The only thing is, he will take the lead back again this year. It's just one of those things that just works out of the time and place, and eventually gets.
But you're talking about your fucking the linchpin of your attack, taking the lead back. Biscuit. At Fantasy Pants New Zealand said, "Hiku scores a try. Daily cunty Evans cry. Eat shit Silvertails. Hashtag Hiku Haiku." Devon Head said, "Lucky for Nate, Harris Tavita was playing and not Green. Otherwise, the losing margin could have been anything." We'll give that one to Dev. Well done.
Yeah, but Green's defence. Maybe they might have found that last try.
Who knows?
Where are we? The Rabbits 28 defeat the Broncos 10 at ANZ Stadium. The Rabbits tries to Gagai, Reynolds, Nichols and Burgess. Reynolds 4 conversions and 2 penalty goals defeating the Broncos 10 tries to Farnsworth, Fafita and a conversion to Katoni Staggs.
Broncos, with all that's going on there and with all the enjoyment I'm personally taking from this, the collapse of the once mighty, will always give credit where it's due, even without being asked. And their performance again in the first part of this game was better than most of the shit sandwich that they'd served up.
It's funny you say. I mean, that is also an indictment of the season the Broncos are having when you can characterise a game where they actually never looked like they were in it to win it, but it just was less shit than other games.
Yeah, exactly.
When you can find that as a positive talking point, that just shows how bad their season is in general.
Well, you know me, I'd rather light a candle than curse the darkness. But for their part, South went in with a very simple game plan, even though their coach ended up not being able to come in and see them execute it. But they just went right up the guts all night, over and over and over and over and over, straight up the guts. Even when they scored their second try, Brisbane was staging a little bit of a comeback. But I don't know, in the territory battle, it looked like they were getting on top and they had some momentum. But as soon as South scored that second one, the Broncos just did that Broncos thing that they've been doing recently, and absolutely to a man fucking collapsed. And then I tried to think back, and I'm sure it's happened before, and I'm sure it's happened in recent memory. I couldn't come up with the last time I saw a try from a tap.
Yeah,
like where somebody taps the ball on their foot, passes it, and the guy that is supposed to just take that first fucking useless hit up after the tap finds himself over the try line and falls down and scores. That is officially the softest fucking try I've seen all season. That was horrid.
Yep. Hit some tweets, man. I do not want to add shit. I've been fucking scarred. I've been scarred for life right now. While you were doing that, I received an email.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The email, you know, you get the little preview thing comes up in mail when you get like a notification that you got a new mail.
Yes.
I get a new mail notification, and in capital letters it says 4J. And I saw who it came from. He who shall not be named. And I knew immediately that it was going to be a picture of someone's fucking balls. And sure enough, it's a picture of someone's balls. So,
how does a picture of balls scar you?
I'm here recording a podcast. I don't necessarily want people to see people's balls. People whose balls who the owner of the balls that I know. While I'm trying to think about the Broncos playing the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Well, you know, I'm deodorizing mine as we speak.
Yeah, you think I can't see that? This is video chat. I mean, you're holding the thing up and putting the lube in your hand, then your hand disappears and.
Yeah, didn't you see me making eye contact with you?
No. Thankfully, I wasn't. I wasn't making eye contact with you at the time, thankfully. But
yeah.
But
you just missed the window into my soul. Toto said, "I've had time to zen, be with the family, enjoy the weekend, and think it over. COVID has just unveiled the true current culture of my beloved Broncos. While other teams were secretly training in underground bunkers, the Broncos were eating Maccas, wishing the season away. This is apparent with their lack of fitness in the early rounds and selfish attitudes. I'm thankful that we've found out now and not another 2 to 3 years down the track." Oh, look.
That's it.
Fuck, Toto, I love you. That makes zero fucking sense. The fact that you found out now means absolutely fucking nothing. There is no way out of this shit show for you guys. This is your life for the next 5 years.
I don't think it's going to last that long. I don't think that
Do you want to go wake your kids up, tell them there's no Santa Claus while you're at it?
I'm just saying.
Fuck's sake, man.
I'm just saying. I don't want you to get hurt. I agree. I want you want 5 years. I want fucking 10 years. That's not the position. That's not what I'm disputing here. What I'm just saying is that the world isn't a magical place where that shit happens.
Look, I choose to believe.
And you know these cunts are going to turn it around in fucking, within 3.
Yeah, I know. Michael said the 2020 Broncos have now conceded over 400 points, and that Nichols try shows exactly why. No heart or mongrel. Fuck, that's a big total for 400 points. Garth said, fucking Broncos, I hate you cunts. Fucking curl up and die. How much does it cost to cripple Croft for the year? Nasty.
The thing is, you can't single out like one, but the funny thing for me is that they can't even single out Darius anymore.
Yeah.
Like he's one of the ones actually kind of trying and putting in now.
That's it. Steven said, it is so fucking confusing having to cheer on Souths, but I'm accepting the greater good and adapting. # Broncos for the spoon. Adam said, Dearden looks raw, but may be the best half the Broncos have. Fuck, I feel for that kid. Like, I don't know if you've heard the phrase, but there's a thing that's often talked about, called the genetic lottery. Okay. And the things like, for me to be born as a straight white male in Australia at this
there's
moment
like a freakonomics
history,
sort of thing, yeah.
It's a probability thing. Out of all the people that have ever been born, for me to have the fucking good fortune to be born when I was as I was, it is the genetic fucking lottery. Like, take any one of those things and change it, and my path through life becomes harder.
Yeah.
Right? That fucking Dearden kid, any other time coming into the Brisbane Broncos as an up-and-coming young half, the fucking people you had around you to guide your entrance into professional sport, compared to what this kid got, fuck, that poor cunt. Poor fucking cunt. But trying his absolute guts out.
It's interesting you feel sorry for a Broncos player, but yeah. Is that it for the tweets?
Yeah.
Okay, the Melbourne Storm 41 defeated the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs 10 at the Sunny Coast Stadium. I don't have the crowd figure on it this time in front of me, but
fucking
I'm sure,
lot.
I'm sure it was a number that just infuriated people that don't live in Queensland. In terms of social distancing and the fact they're not even allowed to go outside and shit. What have we got here? The Storm's 41 came from a double to Addo Carr, a double to Kenny Bromwich, Nico Hines, Justin Olam, and Vunivalu also with tries. 3 conversions to Cameron Munster, 3 to Nico Hines, a disrespectful field goal to Munster, defeating the Dogs 10 tries to Laffey and Remus Smith. Laffey with a conversion, and that's it.
Yeah, the Melbourne Storm showed again what a good foundation does. This wasn't a great game by them by any stretch of the imagination. Usually for someone to put 40 on a team, no matter what the state of your opposition, you still have to play to a certain level to put those 40 points on. This was an unstorm-like game. They've continued their much higher rate of errors in 2020. They've continued the slightly disjointed attack, and while looking at it on the surface, you might think that it's they're not as good as they once were, or their big players have lost a step. The fucking scary thing in my head about this is I think this is Bellamy adapting.
Like it absolutely is, and it's not just this week; it was last week as well.
Yeah,
where the Storm kind of fumbled their way through this new 6 again sort of and we initially said that they would be one of the teams that would probably adapt to things the quickest.
Yeah,
but they didn't. But because their defensive basis is so good, they kind of fumbled their way through and won games despite that. And I think it's only like the last week or two where you can see that their attack has started to show signs of that they've mastered the new sort of rule set that they're playing the games under.
A lot of it also is due to a little bit more slack, I'd say, in the reins. Given now
Yeah,
Bellamy
that's all part of it. Yeah, that's all part of it. I think it.
The massive taskmaster.
Yeah, I just think that they've got so many skillful players that it's a matter of
That's it.
It's a matter of the under this style. You can play what's in front of you a little bit more rather than just going structure all day.
That you're not going to get raped.
That was the part that Bellamy had to kind of loosen the reins on, or adapt to himself to give the guys the license to do that stuff.
Yeah, spot on.
Especially guys like Pappenhausen, that are sort of starting to come into their own.
Yeah, and this is the scary thing. You look at a team that has their error, any other team that has their error rate blowout, all of a sudden they've fallen from grace and they're struggling to make the 8, and people are talking about a crisis, but the Melbourne Storm just keep winning fucking games. It's absolutely shocking. Craig said, sign Josh Addo-Carr, says everyone. We signed Laffey. That explains it. That very well sums up the fucking doggies. David said, I watched the first 5 or so minutes. We looked great, moving the ball, attacking the short side. Averillo almost scores in the corner, throws it back inside. From there, it was all over. Lewis kicks the ball out on the full. We miraculously get solid field position again, earn a penalty kick right in front. Averillo shanks the kick. We march back upfield, another attacking raid. Lewis throws a telegraphed intercept to Josh Addo-Carr. At this point, I stop watching. I open the NRL app 10 minutes later, see Melbourne up 16-0. Proceed to the freezer. There you go. That is a very good sum up. Super Grover said, the Dogs used all of Nappa's experience and fucked themselves in the arse on camera for 80 minutes. Excellent. Good stuff. GT351_Johns said, congrats to Storm. They actually turned up with a depleted side and still played for 80 minutes. My team, on the other hand, very, very poor and look like they want to be anywhere but here. Very sad to see this decline. Still, I'll be back next week to support them. Good on you.
This is the problem I have with the Doggies. The Broncos are having their historically worst by a long margin season.
Yes.
The spoon is theirs for the taking, except that before COVID, the Broncos actually looked great and had won 2 from 2 matches and banked 4 points before the break that we had.
Yep.
Come back after the break and they embark on this historically bad wooden spoon season with one win. The one win they get is over the fucking Dogs, and that was the point where the Dogs could have consigned them to the wooden spoon. I guaranteed it, because Broncos for and against is so bad and it's so much worse than anyone else, or is so much worse than the Dogs. It's insurmountable over the last rounds of the competition, even if they won every game by 50 going to the end. They couldn't overcome that for and against. And if they do,
I have a new second thing I'm going to do. So the minute the time travel's invented, obviously the first thing I'm still going to do, this won't change, is jump in that motherfucker and go back and Tarzan's grip Robbie Farah's dad's Jap's eye. But the second thing I'm going to do is come back to 2020 and petition that fucking hard for the pre-Rona points to be scrapped. Like, I will be that far up Uncle Nick's ass using him like a puppet because he didn't fucking chirp loudly enough.
Yep.
Because if we erase those, then Broncos get the spoon automatically.
Yeah, they do. But that's my big. It's games like these that I have no. For all the Doggies have to do is win one.
Yep,
just one. By a point, it doesn't matter, because as long as I can't see the Broncos winning again, unless there's some untold calamity to one of the sides that they're playing going forward. So it comes down to the Doggies. Doggies have to get one back, and if they do, great. But it's games like this just make me think, fuck, man. Like, I just don't know if they've got it in them.
They've got the Warriors at home. That's their opportunity. And I was going to say the Titans, but fuck, I don't think so.
Yeah, we'll get to the Titans.
The Warriors is their fucking chance, hey.
That's their biggest chance, especially now. Like, we see, like, just tonight, Tuivasa-Sheck, he wants to code switch now because he's not happy with the way things are going. Tohu Harris, I think he wants to bail on them. I don't know if he's speaking about code switching as well, but he wants to bail. So the season's just going to keep getting worse for them as it goes on.
Yeah.
But the Knights 44 defeated the West Tigers 4 at McDonald Jones Stadium. The Knights 44 came from a double to Ponga. Hunt, Stafford Toa, Saifidi, Saifidi J, SASE, and Shibasaki, and Phoenix Cross on all with tries. Ponga 5 of 8 conversions and a penalty goal to feed the Tigers for a try to Luciano Leilua, and that is it. Like, we may as well get the unpleasantness out of the way first. Ponga actually had a great game. And I don't want it to be said that I did not acknowledge that.
Yeah, no, very good game. That's where he should look to excel. If you look at everywhere he was effective, it was in wrong footing defenders. It was in picking his targets accurately. And I think that's where he's fallen down a little bit. So he pops up in the same spot on the field all the fucking time. Whereas I think he'd be much more effective if he floated a little bit more like Teddy does and just absolutely fucking live around the middle there. Like, you know me, I am a fucking Benji stan and I am here for the swan song of the crafty veteran.
Mm-hmm.
But Ponga just beat him for pace. Just absolutely fucking flamed him. And he should be doing that to tired forwards every game. Mm-hmm. Every fucking game.
Yep.
But you're right, a very good game. Knights did a very good job up the middle. That's where their strength's been. They've sort of crafted this great pack with Clemmer and Saifidi was back. They just went out there and did exactly what they needed to do up the middle. And it gave them room on the outside back, so it's not fucking hard. You add to that the Tigers just couldn't control the ball, especially in their own end.
I mean, we're like, 10 or 11 years into this shit now.
Yeah.
It should stop surprising me at some point. But holy fuck, I mean, could you imagine the tormented life that being a Tigers fan would provide? Like, in seasons, they play top teams and beat them and look fucking amazing.
Mm.
And then, like a fortnight later, they'll do this. And it's like, how the fuck can you live like that?
I'm just thinking, though, so we're about at Origin time.
Yeah.
Normally at this point of the season,
this
point of the season, the Tigers are looking fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
This is when they get that little uptick. They'll beat a couple of teams depleted by Origin. They'll move into somewhere on the ladder, and it looks like even if they lose a couple of games they should win, they'll still finish maybe 7th or 8th.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden,
then the ass falls out of it.
That's it. So Newcastle, again, to their credit, they'd had a dip in form, and they looked to be improving week on week. It wasn't amazing opposition, but they looked to be doing what they need to be doing.
Yep. The Panthers... sorry, my mistake. Got to go to tweets. Hit the tweets.
Oh, there we are. One-Eyed Tiger said, "Hello, apathy, my old friend." Fuck, it makes me fucking sad when he says shit like that. Biggest is always positive.
He made his bed, though.
But One-Eyed, oh, Jesus. Josh said, "See Dewey after the game. Must be tough going from a great club like South to an absolute shit show like Niners. I feel for him." Yes, I think there may have been something else that he was emotional in, considering his international representative honours. Danny said, "Face it, Benji needs to retire. He was given a right royal reaming tonight, and my God, Joey Leilua is a fat bastard. And I know fat bastards." Terry said, "Who would have thought losing a Melbourne hooker would make the Tigers' performance decline more than the Storms?" Interesting.
That's true, actually. I had forgotten that Harry Grant, until you mentioned it, then I forgot that he wasn't there, and wow, what a difference that makes. Fuck. And you know what? I saw an article today, and look, the way we feel about the media in general and the way that things they report and the potential accuracy of them.
Mm.
If it were to come true, though, obviously Harry Grant's not there next year. He's back at the Storm. Apparently, the salary cap situation that the Tigers are in at the moment, with some very high value contracts going to like the likes of Luke Brooks and Moses Umbai and Russell Packer, etc. has got them in a position where they could probably buy 2 more, like, cheap players.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it.
Yep.
And so they're losing pretty much the only thing that has sparked their entire squad, and they won't be able to replace. So this sort of this sort of game is probably the ghost of Christmas's future.
It's going to be interesting, just looking at what. That's the picture that scarred you.
No, I was just playing drama for the podcast, bro.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Fuck, man, you've broken kayfabe now. You got
broken what?
Oh God, I don't have time in the middle of a West Tigers match thing to explain all that.
Okay,
it's just like you've broken the fourth wall. It was a little bit of podcast magic.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, so the Tigers are going to have this money to go to market, but who's available?
Doesn't matter. They can't afford them anyway. That's the point. They can't afford them.
And in all seriousness, are they attracting top tier talent?
No, they're not. And I think that they the way the article the stories are going today is that they potentially will alleviate some of their salary cap pain by offloading the hefty $850 that they're paying Moses Umbai. And
fuck, that's a lot of money for Moses.
The Titans appear to be amenable to taking Moses Umbai off their hands. And so just when we're talking about how fucking great the Titans have been going with their recruitment for next year, they pull one of these classic Titans moves and buy a guy that's going to cost them way too much and give them nothing.
Although, here's the thing. If you could get Mbai and you could get him for, or let's say you're paying $450 and they're carrying the rest of the freight, you give him no fucking responsibility. Because remember, he went to the Tigers and they made him like captain his 3rd week there.
Yeah.
Give him no responsibility and put him in the centres or the wing.
Yeah.
Serviceable. That's not a shitty decision. Can't
that's
fuck
kind
you
of what
any
he's
more
doing.
than
That's
Tyrone
kind of what
Peachy does.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be a very interesting time, and I know I normally rag a lot on the Tigers, but I think there are potentially some very fucking dark days ahead for recruitment wise for Wests.
You done with the tweets?
Yep.
All right. Panthers 28 defeated the Raiders 12 at Panthers Stadium. The Panthers 28 came through tries to Kickow, Martin, Crichton, and Naden. Cleary 4 conversions and 2 penalty goals. The Raiders 12 came through a double to Chance Nickel-Klotstad and 2 conversions to Jared Croker. This was like almost like the Panthers almost put it together for a second game in a row, but they didn't. They didn't this time. They didn't do it for the whole time. I mean, first half, fuck yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Then second half, nah. And they never let the Canberra Raiders back into the game because let's face it, the lead was insurmountable at half time. But I don't think they would have been happy with what they did give them.
Yeah, neither do I. But looking at that, the first the first 7 minutes, Penrith didn't touch the ball.
Yeah.
That was the hallmark. As soon as I saw that happen, then I get fucking PTSD flashbacks to games where we have had a lead but get run down in the last 5 minutes just because we used up way too much fucking gas early on. The fact that they could withstand 7 fucking minutes of solid attack from a fresh Canberra Raiders attacking, it was the fact that it didn't nail them late in the game. And if it did, they were smart enough to scale back the efforts they were putting into attack and really save their juice for where they needed it in defence. Because that Canberra side didn't go away. Say what you want. Whether you think they were managed back into the game by the refs or whether there were some strange calls. I won't get into that shit.
That managed narrative is fucking such dumb shit.
I fucking love it.
It is fucking stupid. I mean, how many games have they been managed into in the first fucking place? I mean, with the exception of probably 3 clubs in the entire competition, every club's been managed into a fucking game.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks to these 6 agains.
Yeah.
The only clubs that consist there's a couple of clubs that consistently aren't, but the vast majority of clubs have had their times being kissed on the dick.
That's it. The other fucking hard dick moment for me was when they held up Papali over the line, who is the hardest to hold up person in the history of the fucking human race when he gets a head of steam up close to the line. And looking at that Penrith team, rugby league's a very, very simple game in its meta, in its structure. Like you were alluding to in your Manly review, run hard, get up and play the ball quickly, pass it to somebody up on the ball.
Run onto the fucking ball.
Exactly. Yeah. Watch the ball into your hands, even though there's giant cunts running trying to kill you.
Yep.
That part of it's very, very simple. Where it gets a little bit more complex is in trying to complement your side. As in, you've got guys of different sizes, different speed, different abilities, different strengths, different weaknesses, trying to manage that throughout your team. And this is where I think this Penrith team are really starting to separate themselves, along with, the Roosters, probably the Storm, from the rest of the competition, in that they are so complementary to each other. In looking over it, Cleary's obviously a rep level player. There's another couple of rep level players there, but it's a relatively young team. And these guys are just getting out there and doing what they need to do to complement the blokes next to them. And that's where they're getting a lot of their success from. But that mental fortitude, so much of that stems from just the confidence that the person next to you is going to do what they need to do, so you can focus on what you need to do and not cover for them. It's very, very pleasing to see. And having a look at the draw, we'll go undefeated for the rest of the season. So,
and I don't begrudge you. I don't begrudge it at all. I mean, if there's got to be a season, why not an asterisk season?
Exactly.
Why not?
Exactly. Why not win the premiership in the hardest season to do it in since the inception of the game? With the psychology.
Well, you have to be good for only 80% as long as regular teams.
Yeah, that's true. But also to deal with the psychological effects of the worst global pandemic since the start of the century.
They literally call it
the escalating geopolitical situation.
We talk about the unawareness of players and the way that they go through their life living in this fucking bubble. This year, there's literally a bubble inside the bubble.
Yeah.
All these motherfuckers have to worry about, because they aren't allowed to do anything else, is just practice their fucking dance moves on TikTok.
The fact that the
greatest for a player,
the greatest number 7 in the history of the game, had to deal with fucking TikTok pussies thrown at him constantly. Showing that he's not only a better player than Kalen Ponga, but a better dancer.
They're splatting on the bubble. Isn't that funny though? Kalen Ponga's trying to fucking own that TikTok shit too.
He's so fucking bad.
And he's so bad.
My 6-year-old is a better fucking TikTok dancer than Kalen Ponga.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and he dances to Taylor Swift.
And I was pissed myself laughing when I saw that. Because like the earnest look on his face, like he's so fucking serious about it.
He's fucking slinging that thing.
But yes, can't dance.
There are going to be some very fucking disappointed receptacles in about 15 years' time.
His dick might take after his mother. He might leave you in the dust.
Oh, look, I'm just talking about the technique. The fact that it's just like that. Fucking.
I think 15 years of practice, he's ahead of the game.
That staccato fucking. Okay, so Tim said Raiders just weren't in it first half. Still, Panthers going to do what they do best in finals and choke. Hashtag fuck the Panthers. Hashtag promote the choke.
Who was that?
That was Tim.
Tim? Yeah. So angry.
Tim, I know. Please show me on the doll where Nathan Cleary touched you.
This was a tweet thread for the Panthers and Raiders game. There's no Broncos talking here.
Well, promote the choke. That's a Dragons hashtag.
It's actually provoked though too. I mean, so
Yeah.
I don't want to be, the hashtag Nazi or anything, but
Well, typical Raiders fan, trying to do something and just, sort of getting the basic idea right, but just not executing very well.
yeah.
Yeah. Ross said, Stepdad, any comments on the prayer circle? Hashtag weary of the yeary of Cleary. My stance on prayer circles is exactly the fucking same as my stance on shit cunt haircuts. If you are number one on the table, you can do whatever the fuck you want. If you can fucking sit down and pray to imaginary sky cloud man and say fucking, thank you for doing that, then that's fantastic. In fact, I think it goes to the humility of the Panthers players, whereas normal people would look at that performance and get rock hard at their own fucking greatness. They attribute it to a higher power. So it's not actually them out there running fast and busting tackles and throwing amazing cutout passes. It's all been predestined. So, fucking in the name of the Father and the Son, the Cleary goats. Oh, there you go. No, I'll work on that. It's not quite yet, but in the name of the Father and the Son. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, someone send me the last part. Finish it off for me.
Father, the Son, the TikTok slots.
In the name of the Father and the Son and the TikTok slots. That's nice. Shanta said John Bateman completely exposed as a humongous fraud, fake tough guy and a fake nice guy. Are we sure he really has a daughter back in Wigan, or is he catfishing the Raiders? Oof, that is exactly right. Did you see fucking Big Villy's first try? He's looked back to see if they've called him for an obstruction.
Yeah.
He stopped and turned around just to see if there were people blowing their whistle or blowing up, because the fucking ease that we went through for our first two was fucking all time. That was great. Biggest Tiger said the saddest part about all of this is that we won't have a meet-up when the Panthers win the grand final. Well, you know what? If the Panthers win the grand final, I'll remind everyone of that every year for every fucking meet-up. Don't you worry, I'll get my fucking money's worth. Nigel said, I hate to admit, but Cleary on a different level to everyone else at the moment. He certainly is. And Joel said, fuck it, for the sake of my multi, let's go, hashtag Eerie of Cleary. I don't care how you get on board, just make sure you are.
The Titans 30 defeat the North Queensland Cowboys 10 at Seabus. The Titans 30 tries to Don Proctor, a double to Brinton. Brian Kelly and Sammy also have tries. Fogarty 3-5 conversions. Ash Taylor very kindly axed himself, I think, after his attempt. The Cowboys 10 tries to Felt and O'Neill, and Felt 1 of 2 conversions.
How the fuck do you get a form line on these Cowboys?
Well, it's also on the Titans as well. I mean, firstly, I will say, Titans fans enjoy this moment. It appears that Holbrook is, doing things there, and it's he stopped the whole chopping and changing that he was running with earlier in the season in terms of lineups. Obviously, injuries and things like that probably settled down a touch as well. But it looks like something's kind of something might be changing there. But at the same time, I would also add, these guys have broken your hearts consistently for years.
Yep.
So to quote the Wolf, let's not start sucking each other's dicks just yet.
Yeah.
Because they're just as likely to turn around next week and get fucking smashed.
Yeah. That's it.
But if they can generate performances like this, especially from the likes of Brimson, Ash Taylor, Proctor, Brian Kelly's been good probably all year, or at least the last couple of weeks. Sammy, that's what you want. And I mean, and if those guys that I mentioned can carry that kind of form into next year, when you get a top up of the big boys, then fuck, it could be good times on the definitely on the up, on the horizon.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Looking at that though, the Cowboys had an absolute fucking shocker in the form of Morgan.
Oh my god! Did you see that? Which fucking try was that? That it was like it made Darius Boyd look like George Tafua.
peak Tafua, not now Tafua.
It was like tackling Tafua, like when he actually makes it. But I think it was Brimson's Aussie second try. He fucking like
yeah. Like he's been out
to his
for
knees
a long
the opposite
time.
direction.
He's been out for a long time.
Yeah, and I mean it was a shoulder as well, so I can understand there might be some issues in terms of confidence in your putting your body on the line.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was also kind of protected right out there on the right as well.
But this is the thing. It's not an uncommon tactic to run at a half, especially one that's going to get himself heavily involved in defence, and Morgo is one of those halves generally. But you can do that for 60 minutes out of a game, only for it to pay off once.
Yep.
And that's generally a fucking acceptable strategy. Man, you missed 7 tackles, 4 errors. It was just an absolute horror night out for him. So it's out of character.
Those 7 tackles, was that all in the first half? It was definitely 6 in the first half. I know that.
Yeah, I don't know the split, but it was uncharacteristic, and you would assume that he doesn't continue that on, and you obviously can't blame a loss on one player.
No, but when they scored 3 or 4 tries through there in the first half, I mean, it kind of put them out of reach.
Yeah, well, again, if you know someone's struggling, this is where the good teams adapt. Like you said, and the cover gets better. So, Justin said, "Fucking Cowboys! Just when I thought my morale couldn't get any lower, time to draw a warm bath and drag in the hairdryer. Oof, it's never that bad. At least you're not a Tigers fan." Hammers, in a very fucking serious post, you fucking polymer merchant. To end up winning 30-10 was a bit disappointing, to be honest, but all in all, that was a great game of footy by the lads. Ash played great and very unlucky to not score. Proctor played arguably his best game in Titans colours. Mo was Mo, Sammy, Don, Copley and BK solid, AJ getting better by the game. Goal kicking was terrible and still can't figure out why Mo doesn't play more minutes. First half shows what shows you what this team is capable of and gives a glimpse of what 2021 can be. If they played the majority of next year like that first half, top 8 isn't out of the question. Holbrook can coach. He's got these guys playing a style of footy I never thought possible by this club. Take Hipgrave, Peachy, Wallace out, add Fafita, Tino and Herman, and oh boy, this team looks good. You fucking beat the Cowboys when Michael Morgan...
I don't want to begrudge them the enjoyment of a great performance and a dominant win. This is a fan base that hasn't had a lot to cheer. They haven't had many of these in their entire history, let alone recent history. I mean,
they also support the anti-vax movement. Whereas my club removes anti-vaxxers, the Titans happily fucking take them. So
I think that. Well, I mean, no. Even he's still being unfair there as well. I mean, they are punting Brycey and Brian.
You know what? They are. When it's done, come back to me. Until then, I refuse to give any extra credit to a team that supports children getting fucking polio. So yeah, good luck. You take that as a solid win. It was fucking Michael Morgan having a Barry. That's what it was. Troy said, once again, and still, fuck rugby league. Lucky Captain Morgan was back. There we are.
Yeah, Captain Morgan. He drank a bottle of Captain Morgan. The Eels 14 defeated the Sharks 12 at Netstrata Jubilee. The Eels 14 came through tries to Dylan Brown and Kane Evans. Moses 2 conversions and a penalty goal. The Sharks tries to Ramian and Mulatalo with a double. And Johnson tellingly missed all 3 attempts at conversion.
Yeah, tough. Look, to roll out the cliche, the wet weather was the great equaliser. And for the majority of this game, I thought the Sharks handled it, maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, and I mean they certainly came, the back end of the game. It felt like that they were coming on strong, and it felt inevitable that they would break through and get the win.
Yeah, that's it.
But wow, I mean, talking about the weather being the great equaliser, though, I mean, I don't think necessarily that this game would have gone the same way had it been a dry track. I think the Eels would have had too much for them. Yeah. And this was a great opportunity for the Sharks that they just failed to capitalise on, ultimately.
Yeah, that's it. They're missing leadership. and it's a similar problem to what was affecting the Broncos. Again, the Broncos have now got so many fucking problems, but just last year, that lack of leadership and lack of direction was very obvious in the Broncos. And that's a lot of what I see in Cronulla, because they're not lacking talent. They've got fucking strike out wide. On paper, their right-hand side attack, should be close to one of the most dangerous in the competition when it's firing, but they just can't get it to click properly. And obviously goal kicking's a massive fucking issue for them, obviously. But they don't have those go-to people who, when they're in those situations, really fucking knuckle down and pull them through. They're relying too much just on the talent or the freak play to get them out of these tough situations instead of gritting their way out of it. John said, if nail-biting finishes are Parramatta's new normal, I may need to start laying off the KFC a bit for my poor heart's sake. Nah, who am I kidding? A win's a win, baby. Fucking very dangerous celebrating mediocrity like that. Sharky Dave said, brave loss, really brave. Just a bunch of battlers fighting the heavyweights and probable premiers. Jesus Christ, Dave. Like, I know there's some fucking, ironic ignorance in terms of how Sharks fans normally go about things. But you've just called the Parramatta Eels heavyweights and probable premiers. That's beyond irony. And you, like your fucking team, are now just a parody of the successful year in 2016. So fucking be better. Willie said, fuck that stings, losing by missed goals again. The narrative is going as planned. Yes.
Oh, yeah, because they actually forced Johnson to miss the fucking goals. Come on.
Yeah, if Volandis was up on the roof of the stadium with fucking sprinklers and garden hoses, that wasn't actual rain.
Yeah.
Andrew said, stupid brain snaps from Paris. Still can't believe we have been escaping with wins. They've been finding ways to do it. They're not pretty. Mitch said, Cronulla, the premier entertainers of the NRL, kicking 40-20s, helping show scrums are still relevant and bringing some much-needed razzle-dazzle, scoring as many tries as possible while still following the predetermined result. The Sharks are the Rock in a comp with a top four full of stone colds. I don't understand what any of that fucking means.
Did you finish it? They're the Rock in the stone. Oh, they're talking about wrestling. They're talking about the Rock and Stone Cold.
Ugh, fucking hell. Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't paying attention.
The fucking Venn diagram of wrestling fans and shit. Of course. Why does that not fucking surprise me? Jesus fucking Christ. And probably tweeted around. Aaron Marr said, both teams have honoured the memory of Johnny Manor by playing like cancer. Fucking ouch. Coming from a Tigers fan.
Previews come up for, round 14 of the 2020 NRL asterisk season. The Thursday game, the Roosters take on the Storm at the SCG. Josh Morris is back in the centre. Orbison goes to second row. Nat Butcher to the bench, and Max Bailey drops to reserves. Flano Jr. named as a reserve in the 21 after being replaced by Lachlan Lamb last week. Lachlan Lamb still does retain the 7 though. The Storm, Pappenhausen is back at fullback. Finucane back in lock. Riley Jacks comes into 5'8", replacing the injured Cameron Munster. Is a massive blow for the Storm, especially a big game like that. Tino Fa'asuamaleaui and Nico Hines drop to the bench, and Chris Lewis back to reserves. Brenko Lee is named in 21 as a chance of return from injury as well. Look, I think to make this really simple, I think the loss of Cameron Munster is a much. I mean, like the Roosters have their issues, but I think the loss of Munster just as the Storm were kind of getting their mojo back in terms of attack, or getting their mojo back so much so that they were like, yeah, let's rest fucking Pappenhausen last week for a game against the Doggies.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that the loss of Munster throws a spanner in that kind of progression that they were sort of building on.
Yep.
And, you know, in addition, you know, when you add that to the fact that Cam Smith's not there either, I think, you know, Cam Smith being there when none of the other big whatevers in the spine over the last decade were there, he still kind of, you know, was enough to steady the ship. Brandon Smith is not that guy.
Yeah.
Great player.
No, he's not.
But not anything like that. And so without Munster being the dominant guy there, I'm not sure if Jerome Hughes is the guy that can steer the ship as soundly coming up against the Roosters.
Against any other side,
you give them a better than average. Yeah,
you'd be forgiven. That's it for saying here that okay, so the Storm systems are going to get them home.
Yep.
You know, there's going to be enough there in the bank for just plays to run in different situations. I really think that Morris coming back in is such a huge inclusion for the Roosters, and Lachlan Lamb will continue the form he showed last week. Had a very, very good game, and what a situation for the Roosters to be in. You know, you had such a promising young seven in Flano Jr. that had a relatively good season, I'd thought, up until that point. And then taking him out and giving Lachlan Lamb some game time forces him to want to improve and get better, but then also pushes Lamb to retain the spot that you've given him. So it's a very good situation for them to be in, but I'm going to tip the Roosters on this one.
The Warriors take on Penrith Panthers in the pub slot game. Hetherington, it's funny, like Hetherington wasn't going to play anyway, but it's out because of suspension. So he's replaced by Lachlan Burr. Isaiah Papali'i fills the bench spot. The Panthers, no changes, although Dylan Edwards is named in 19, and so I guess he's possible to come back.
Yep.
Look, the Warriors have no fucking chance of winning this game. They're going to get smashed. It's just going to be a for and against exercise for the Panthers. Like, there's really no discussion required, I don't think. It's going to be ugly. Extremely ugly. And, look, the Warriors have hung on longer than I expected them to this season. In and out of some terrible performances, but they've had some good ones as well. But... now, like every week, it's just more bad news. Like, you know, players want to go home because they're homesick. You know, I get that. They do that. They're some of their best players in their side. They want to go home. Then they get a new coach named. It's not that it's the coach that the coach that's been caretakering for them. He wants to piss off, you know, for personal reasons. So who they sign? Very valid personal reasons. And so who they sign? Maybe the most garbage coach that was on the touted list of potentials.
Yes, that's it.
So, you know, these players talk to each other as well. I mean, if those players turned on Brownie at the end of his reign at the Knights, I'm sure they fucking know. I'm sure there's people they know in common that have got plenty to say about what went on there. Yeah, through the back channels.
Yeah, exactly.
Long story short, the Panthers will win this one and extremely easily.
Yeah, look, you can't go into any game complacent, and that's the risk.
Us as people who watch the games can go as can be complacent, and
Correct.
rightfully so. And even if the Panthers were complacent, they still could be complacent for 20 minutes, unless both of their starting props get injured and all this other shit goes wrong. But I don't think it's going to happen. You know.
Yeah, don't you fucking put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
We have a masculine son. It's taken from you. The Eels take on the Dragons in the late game on Friday. The Eels, Madison's back from a concussion layoff. New Corey gets benched. Andrew Davey back to the reserves, which is a shame because, I mean, Andrew Davey, he's not the best player in the world. I mean, he's a step or two above Plotter level, I would say. But it's a great story that he managed to, you know, like at such a late hour, managed to force his way back into a side that is one of like the front runners of the league. So good on him, and I hope he gets back into 17 soon. The Dragons, Corey Norman back into 17, as you alluded to at the start of the show. Ben Hunt back to hooker. McInnes the lock, which is actually probably their best positions in the form lately. Jackson Ford is suspended. Fuimaono is back in the starting 13. Tarek Sims through injury again. And Merrin is also out. Jacob Host, Corbin Sims to the bench. And Tristan Taylor in 14.
Can't go past Parramatta here. You know, at some stage, they need to come good again. You know, the comments that everyone's been making in the tweets and comments were spot on. They've been jagging wins, and they haven't been pretty. And better teams should probably have put them away. But I'm marking this week as when Parramatta get themselves somewhat back on track in terms of playing to the level that they were at early after the resumption.
The Sharks take on the Titans at Netstrata Jubilee. Wilton drops off the bench, replaced by Jack Williams. Toby Rudolph is in the 13. Titans, no changes to the successful lineup from last week.
My instinct here is to pick the Sharks.
And that is because the Titans, they've done nothing to earn my trust. It was a great performance last week.
And Michael Morgan doesn't play for the Sharks.
It was a great performance last week. As I said, enjoy the shit out of a Titans fan. It's been a long time coming. You deserve it. But now's the time for consolidation. And Brimson needs to be as untouchable this week. And Brian Kelly needs to be as strong as he was this week. You need Ash Taylor and Jamal Foggett. They have to back up and do it again because, Ash Taylor gets his $1 million contract from, a handful of games. But no, you've got to do it for an entire season, man. I mean, this is a sort of game. It tests the mettle of Mo Fotuaika. He's got to come up against some, some decent name brand props. And Aaron Woods.
So I'm gonna back the Sharks this one.
Same. The Cowboys take on the Rabbitohs up there at the Abattoir. Drinkwater returns to fullback. Tabuai Fido moves to the wing. Justin O'Neill's out. Asiata comes in to replace Tom Gilbert on the interchange. The Rabbitohs, Jaden Sewer is back from suspension, so he pushes Liam Knight to the bench, and Jack Johns is out of the 17 as a result. Look, will the Cowboys be as bad as they were last week? Probably not. Will Michael Morgan be as bad? Probably not. I just think that just from an experienced,
but he doesn't have to be. He could be 50%,
and it's still not going to help him in this game. Yeah, that's right.
There's far more strike power in this Rabbits team than what the Titans took up there, and look what they managed to achieve. This South forward pack, while they're not playing to where I think they should be or could be, they're doing very, very well. And I think that's the blueprint here, is to just get up and roll through the Cowboys and really put them on the back foot early. Tipping the
Rabbits and
the
well.
Rabbits here.
The Raiders take on the Broncos at GIO. Canberra in Canberra taking on the Broncos, and
13 plus or fucking fold.
This is one of those games where you take advantage of the make your own line option at the bookie. Because I imagine, I haven't looked at the betting lines for this game, but I would imagine that the Canberra Raiders are around the $1.20 mark and the Broncos are around the $6.80 to $7 mark.
So the Raiders are $1.12 and the Broncos are $6.50.
$1.12 ain't paying for shit in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better. It's better than bank interest, but that's the only thing it's better than. What you need to do is you need to put some more juice into that shit, and you need to take Canberra Raiders minus 28.5 or something of that nature, just to make the bet lucrative enough that it's worth your time to actually place the bet.
Yeah.
The Broncos. So just going through the Raiders lineup is the same as last week. Pangai Jr., he's out for his COVID suspension indefinitely. Ben Teo starts in the back row, and Jordan Ricky comes in. Isaac Luke has been dumped to reserves. Corey Pake's named on the bench. Look, and this team is set now before we even know what the fuck's going on with that Everton Park shit too, there could be repercussions out of that to see this side look completely different, except with Brodie Croft still in the six. But then you've got the ins and your outs, and then you've got Darius Boyd has removed himself from the leadership group. He's got the shits about something that hasn't necessarily been aired. Tony Staggs, he wants out. Dave Fafita, he's leaving. And what were you saying to me earlier? Something about Matthew Lodge with a broken leg, did you say?
A broken leg, yes.
He is out, is he? Because I'm looking at the Tuesday list and he was named in 17.
Yeah,
so he's since broken. Today. He's like, well,
yes,
make your own line. I mean, the more you put on, the more you get back. And the more points start you give the Broncos, the more you're going to get back. Bet with your head, not over it. Look, if you've got the balls to go like 38.5, you may be rewarded richly. Oof. That's all I'm saying. And what do we got here? The Newcastle Knights take on the mighty Manly Seagulls and McDonald Jones. Daniel Saifidi replaces Jacob Saifidi, who drops to the bench. Brodie Jones to reserves. Manly, okay, so Parker returns. Fanua Blake is replaced by Paseka. Curtis Siren and Joel Thompson return. Guacamole's on the reserve bench, which is good to see. And Morgan Boyle out of the 17, which is great to see. I'm not a massive fan of this lineup. Let's wait and see what happens. I mean, we got the first cut comes in tomorrow, and then we'll see an hour before the game. But I would very much like to see Tavita Funa in the number 2 or on the left wing in this game. That's really the only change that needs to be made to a side if you want to just like focus on defence. If things continue the way they're going, though, there won't be any credit for this, of course, but Callum Ponga could have a huge game because his side of the field is where he loafs around and doesn't go looking for action, is the side of the field where George Tafua lives. So he won't have to do do very much at all to look very good on the highlight reels.
Okay.
I've officially got no faith in that situation, and Brad Parker, who fucking knows? Corey Waddell will probably end up playing fucking centre over there because Brad Parker will invent another new and creative way to get himself knocked out. This time, I don't know. Okay, so this year he's knocked himself out by slipping and hitting his head on the ground. He's been knocked out by an elbow from a player as he was defending. What else has he fucking done? He hasn't been knocked. He hasn't had a football kicked into his head like Mick Crocker had. So I mean, that'd kill him. I mean, if it knocked out.
Has he been kicked? Has he been kicked in the face, stud side, by somebody that's broken a tackle and runs the length of the field to score?
No, maybe that could be it. Maybe that, but So the bets that I would be placing is Knights to win 13+. Ponga to score at least one try out there over on his right, Tafua's left, and Brad Parker to be knocked out, although I'm not sure if there's a market for that. But there should be. I mean, Sportsbet usually do these creative markets as well, like Tigers to finish 9th and stuff like that. So, the Tigers take on the Doggies. Jacob Little returns from injury to play hooker. Umbai goes to centre. Talau to the wing. Luke Garner returns, so Chris Lawrence is benched, which sees Sean Bloor out of the 17. In this day and age, in the year of our Lord 2020, why would you have waste a bench spot on a Chris Lawrence? Because you've already got Josh Reynolds there, who's like a back, okay, so like a versatile guy that can fill a number of positions if a backline position need to be filled, right?
Yep.
So why would you have Chris Lawrence there, who was a great centre and like a mediocre back rower with no speed anymore, and then you got this fucking kid whose story you fucking loved when he was running up against Nathan Brown the other week? Why would I don't get it. The Doggies. Lachlan Lewis is suspended. He's replaced in the halves by the son of Golden Nuts, Jack Cogger. Avarillo, the Doggies' best player, is out with a hip injury and replaced by Kerrod Holland. this is one of the games, 2 or 3 games in the run home, that I think the Doggies can win. Unfortunately, though,
Yes.
they are not going to. Unfortunately.
No.
Tigers to return to the winner's circle. It won't be impressive. It won't be...
It'll be impressive enough compared to what they've dished out recently.
Yeah, I suppose so. Righto, mailbag. What do we got here? Zach, simply stated, Brisbane Broncos are fucked. Where did you get that idea from? Really? Yes, of course. Chris said, "Have the Broncos lost their have they lost their broom, or is there no more room under the rug?"
Yeah,
They really have lost the broom, haven't they?
Well, it's not a fucking secret what Wayne Bennett did before he was a professional football coach. He was in the police force and was in there long enough to make some decent friendships. And as time goes on, some of those people rise in responsibility and power, and certain things were able to be kept private or never released, etc. And as the game, I guess, professionalises, these are some of the things that you lose. You lose the handshakes and the mates rates at places and things like that. So, yeah, it was always going to happen.
Yeah. Sam had story time with Siebes.
Cool.
Well, given how litigious he is, I mean, I don't think we could really do story time with Siebes until it's been publicly reported. But I mean, I did speak to him earlier, and he did say to me that no comment on that. It's toes before hose. Toto, no time for an ep this week. Move along. Nothing going on. Pretty boring week. I wish. What have we got here? Just skipping through some of these. Some of these are visual. I love. Yeah, thanks for the memes, guys. Fucking doesn't translate to an audio medium though. Cruzy, with Ben Eichen submitting his interest to be the new Broncos CEO, do you think he can muster up the old Thoroughbreds gang once again?
I think so, because in speaking to a couple, what's caused them to no longer have the involvement is the current board or the current coaching staff. And without wanting to go in on the Broncos for unnecessary things, that may very well have been an attempt to clean things up or to really remove themselves from being beholden to a group of silent fucking string pullers, which is essentially what they became.
Yeah.
The minute they're allowed to, they will be right back in there, because like anybody else, they love their club. The only difference is these people have the means and shit tons of disposable income to go and directly affect things at their club.
And they don't want to prop up the current coaching administration.
Yeah, that's it.
Trent said, so assuming Seabold is gone, is the Broncos the most attractive coaching job? Surely they can't get any worse. Or is the place a disaster to avoid for any prospective coach? I think that any coach would go to... As an organisation, I still feel like they're extremely strong and it's extremely attractive, but they're still a one-team town, etc., etc. And I think that Seabold's mostly just the problem in his current administration. And I think if you cleared Seabold and all Seabold people out, got some of those big value contracts off the books, it's probably as attractive as ever.
Yes, though to me that's the issue. The issue, if I'm looking at that place to go as a coach, the giant fucking red flag to me is the inability of that board to admit that they fucked up. And the fact that the contracts that a bunch of those players are on are not commensurate with what they're producing on the field. And like any time that happens, the coach is a scapegoat. And I'm not saying in this instance that Siebes is blameless. Obviously shares a great fucking percentage of the cause here. But until those contracts are fixed, and until there is money to go to market to actually, get players through in key positions that they need, quality players, then I really do think that the Broncos are a poison chalice because of the expectations and the history that come with coaching in that club.
Yeah, I think that if it ever came to the position where they're swapping coaches, I think there's like a lot of those changes would just happen because they would, and changes at the board level as well.
Yeah, but okay, so you get rid of Siebes, it doesn't mean you get rid of Milford. You've still got Jack Bird.
No.
You've still got.
No, but I mean these sorts of things would have to be organised. And if you were coming in as a coach, especially a coach with any pedigree, can you imagine? Somehow, let's just say, by some hypothetical miraculous situation that they managed to negotiate that Craig Bellamy would come up and finish his time at the Broncos as a coach. He is the sort of guy that could basically take control and set the stipulations that would need to be met for him to do that, and he would have the groundwork laid and the cuts that could be made before he got there. So he could slot straight back into, and look, I don't, every coach couldn't probably.
With Bellamy going in there, we're not talking about cutting a bunch of underperforming centres. Like, replace the Broncos with Manly. A coach goes in there and they need to get rid of George, they need to get rid of a couple of plotters, and they need to shore up a bit of depth. That's doable. Most coaches would feel pretty confident going in there and looking at that style restructure. With the Broncos, you're talking about essentially guys who should have been your marquee players, who are on massive fucking contracts. And you get into that situation.
You can instantly save money on.
Yeah, but what's he on? What's Milford on? 900k?
950 maybe.
Okay, so in the open market, what's he worth?
Not a lot at the moment, I wouldn't imagine.
Exactly.
Oh, well, there are teams that would pay. No one would pay 950 for him.
No.
But this is what we've been saying on when we're talking about like the member shows and stuff like that, talking about rebuilding teams like the Dragons. It's the same principle though. You need to get what you need to do is you need to get them offloaded now where there's a potential buyer in the marketplace, and that buyer is Trent Barrett at the Dogs.
Yeah.
Where he'll take fucking anything with a heartbeat and a pulse. He's already indicated his interest in Jack Bird, a guy who's played about fucking one game in the last 2 years.
That's it.
That's the Warriors. They're also,
Yeah, but again, Trent Barrett can't take your whole squad.
It's not necessarily a seller's market at the moment, but there are still buyers for fucking. There are still dumbass fucking buyers out there.
That's it.
Then, but yeah, because they've got a bunch of like good players that have only played a handful of games, but the biggest problem is just that the Brisbane. If they were to get a spoon this year, it might actually even make it easier for an incoming coach because it can't get worse than that.
Yeah, true.
So if they have a bad season with young kids but build and maybe finish like 12th, that's still better than 16th. And then you've got a lot of money freed up because you've offloaded these other guys. Then over the next 2 years you can get in some marquee guys in good positions that are actually worth it.
Still ignoring the point though. Like I get that in your hypothetical, everything's rosy because you've offloaded these players. My question to you is, who takes them? Now, the joke answer is Trent Barrett, but Trent Barrett's not going to take Anthony Milford. The Warriors aren't going to take Anthony
and the Dogs. Oh, they would take Anthony Milford. The Warriors have also cleared up some money too.
Okay, so let's say the Warriors take Milford for 600k.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. What half are you buying for 300? Well, sorry, for 600.
I don't know. But I'm sure you could. Well, for starters, you've got Dearden. I mean, Milford, you've been playing him at like fullback and shit too. So, let's not mistake him for being an indispensable fucking half or something that is leaving this massive cavern. All he's leaving is a fucking warm body.
And again, I don't think that board accepts a year of spoon to 12th.
Yeah, but yes, you know what? Beggars can't be fucking choosers as well. I mean,
as long as they know they're beggars.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, they're gonna fucking know in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Why are we talking about the fucking Broncos so much? Fuck them.
Because we've got a lot of listeners who are Broncos fans.
How?
Because the former co-host was a Broncos fan.
Yeah, true, he was.
Fucking, like, you know, he was a closeted Broncos fan. I mean, yeah, he made out like he was a Tigers fan, but he's a Broncos fan. Make no mistake about it. Where are we? Okay. There are so many of these comments, you motherfuckers, that I cannot read. Because you're basically talking about all the SMSs and things that have, you know, gone around with all that bullshit. Tristan said, I don't want this Broncos ride to end. Which coach is credible enough to get the job, but incompetent enough to make things even worse, and how will that play out? I don't think that there's necessarily someone out there that's credible but makes it even worse, but I also don't think that Kevy Walters is that great.
No.
And he would be someone the Broncos fan base would love to death.
Yes.
But I don't think he would necessarily improve things that quickly.
And you know
Every
what?
coaching job he's had
I don't
has
have
been pretty...
I don't have enough hate to wish that job on Kevy Walters.
Yeah, but I mean, what's he done for me? What's he done for me lately?
Nothing. But he seems too much like a dumb cunt nice guy.
Yeah.
To have that happen to him. It's
yeah, but I mean, like you know, like Forrest Gump still fucked that dirty bitch with AIDS, didn't he?
Yeah, true.
I mean,
yeah, true.
And I mean, he seemed a nice enough guy too.
Yeah, met Elvis. Good on him. Okay.
Forrest Walters.
Point taken.
Next Broncos coach, Forrest Walters.
Oh God.
Where are we here? No, I'm not. No, Phil, I'm not doing that one either. Holy shit! I didn't realize how many of these fucking comments were. Shane said, with Nathan Cleary busting out the dreaded X factor to describe a teammate during the pre-match interview, I'm curious to hear Stepdad's thoughts on the matter.
Well, sitting first on the ladder, do what he want.
Oh, geez, you've fucking sold out all your principles for that hashtag.
Fuck no.
All of them.
Hashtag Eerie of Cleary.
Hammers said, how many more games do the Titans have to win for Holbrook to knock Ivan off as coach of the year?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not saying Ivan's coach of the year, but if Holbrook wants to get it, the Titans have to win at least another 40 games this season.
Well, no.
At least.
all that needs to happen is that Michael Morgan needs to go and play for all of the other sides that the Titans play, a la Blake Green fucking the Tigers. Yeah, then maybe. You know? Yeah.
Jason, how litigious is Seabold, and will this episode be basically just one long beat? Nope. We are great.
He is allegedly very litigious.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't have to allege he's litigious. He's extremely litigious.
Yeah.
If he in fact follows up on his very strongly worded threats to the internet in general.
Yeah.
A bit like that, like Jay and Silent Bob. I mean, like, Seabold just starts going around to people's houses and just fucking knocking on the doors and punching people.
It's kind of like, you know, have you heard that story of, was it Nero who had his army go to the shore and whip the sea? Like, because a storm came up and, like, they were trying to build a bridge to cross something, and the storm or something, a tide or whatever, came up and fucked his bridge up. So he literally had his soldiers go in there with whips and swords and beat the sea up. Seabold just, hey, internet.
Harvard is, as an institution, has been around a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah. What did he say? I didn't read the actual strongly worded threat.
He was talking like jail time and all this sort of shit. Hang on a minute. Let me...
what has he gone? The maximum penalty for...
You will be prosecuted. Anthony Seabold's lawyer has issued a blunt warning to those disseminating vile rumours about his private life, declaring the Brisbane coach wants to see it right through to the end to make sure people are prosecuted for it. Seabold has engaged Howden Sager's lawyers to take action against people posting or disseminating false rumours which have gone viral. The firm's first act will be to shut down a fake Facebook account in Seabold's name that sprung up overnight and has already had several thousand followers. I didn't see that. Howden Saga's partner Dave Garrett was scheduled to meet with cybercrime detectives from the Queensland Police Force on Wednesday in a bid to stop the circulation of defamatory material and prosecute those responsible. There'll be a huge warning for a lot of people when the police do their investigations. They have the tools to find out where this is coming from and who's forwarding it on. It's obviously early days for us and for Anthony. It won't stop here. He's obviously quite upset about it due to the stress it's caused his family. He wants to see it right through to the end to make sure people are prosecuted for it. He will be receiving advice in regards to taking action against the people who are forwarding it on. He warned the act of posting or even forwarding the untrue rumours could result in prosecution. By them forwarding it on, even if it's a screenshot of another message, it's quite defamatory against Anthony and they are committing an offence. Overnight, we've had a lot of people flood the inbox of our office email with people forwarding this stuff on. It's quite concerning. So much of this crap's going on. It's very distressing for him, and it's stuff he obviously doesn't want to see.
So how does he see it if it's in other people's fucking inboxes? Like, you know, again, I'm at the start of the show. I made my position on this very clear. It's pretty fucking stupid that this stuff gets up and going so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I don't know. Maybe people did think it was real. Who fucking knows?
At the end of the day, though, I mean, welcome to the fucking internet too.
Yeah. Should
those things have been typed up and sent around? Absolutely not. Should they be forwarded on after that fact? Absolutely not.
But hang on.
Are you gonna stamp them out?
No, fuck no.
You've got fucking no chance.
But let's step back a bit.
Go and get Lars to teach you how to fucking play one on drums.
Where's the fucking honest though? If somebody sends something to me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do I then need to fact check that before I send it to you and go, "Hey, take a look at this"? Do I need to fact check it? Do I need to say to that person who sent it to me, "Can you please confirm your sources?" And then, I would
like to say on the record that you didn't send it to me. So
no, 100% I didn't. But
you should not be sent to fucking buttfuck penitentiary.
No, I didn't. But again, hypothetically, the next time I get sent a news article, I have seen prominent rugby league journalists type the words, "It's more important to be first than right sometimes."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So if I forward on a news article that was incorrect, or that was just plain fucking wrong, or never happened, you know, interesting fucking point here. Obviously, you know, don't go circulating dumb shit you know isn't true, but
yeah,
you know,
look,
see,
I wish him all the best in his crusade to get them taken off the internet.
Because it seems now that he has a theoretically tiny e-peen. He's just trying to fucking TikTok dance with.
And the example I use of a screenshot, you know, someone does even if it's a screenshot. Let me tell you, there's no EXIF data on a screenshot that implicates the person that the screenshot was taken of.
Yeah,
you might get the person that took the screenshot and forwarded that on. But the second someone takes a screenshot of that, fucking forget about it. Learn how the internet works. Mezzi said, "Have you ever seen a season unravel like the Broncos? The Sharks have had some spectacular ones, but this Broncos one is incredible." I would agree. Even if this were like the West Magpies of the late 90s or the Sharks in 2014, like it would be still. It's still overly spectacular because there's been so much stuff. Then when you add that to the fact that it's actually like the proud blah blah Brisbane Broncos, then that just puts a multiplier on it again.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, so no, we haven't. This is magnificent. It's as I said, you know, be present, be mindful, live in this moment,
enjoy,
savor every second of it.
Yes,
it's not always going to be this way. In fact, I dare say it's probably going to be rare for it to be this way.
Yes.
So you need to recognize the sheer luck. And when you were talking about genetic lotteries earlier on in the episode, I mean, this is another genetic lottery win, that you were born at a time where you could grow up, discover the sport of rugby league, fall in love with the sport of rugby league, have a team to follow that's not Broncos, go through, realise what cunts they are, and then live in 2020.
That is correct.
To watch this spectacular flame out.
That is correct.
Okay, Clevo, with the sponsorship of Manscaped, can I request the winner of the Tipping and Supercoach, or even the winners at the TWiLs, receive a Ziploc bag full of carefully cultivated and curated pubic hair of Jay and Nate from now until November?
Isn't there something about isn't that or is that shit? Like it's like sending a biohazard or something. Like it's actually illegal if you do it.
Okay. I don't know. What do hairdressers have to do with the stuff they sweep up? Do they have to handle it in a certain way? It's got to go in the bin? Or
I get all of mine burnt because I'm scared of voodoo.
Yeah, you're scared of clones.
Yeah.
You're scared of Jeff Goldblum fucking making a fuck island of stepdads.
the island of stepdad Moreau.
Look, I'm down. I do not care. Danny replied to that and said you can make a chia pet.
Oof.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe we'll take a we'll select a Funko Pop and make like a flocked version. Make it like a Chewbacca pop.
We'll start off with like what's a normal person one, like a Han Solo, and turn him into Chewbacca.
John, finally, if the Broncos endangered the future of the season by going out to a pub and having players risk catching COVID, could V'landys be within his right to strip points from the club on top of a fine for bringing the game into disrepute, or would that be too harsh an option, do you believe? Dude, it's high stakes this season.
Yeah.
The ability that they had to somehow engineer a shortened competition in the face of what's been going on is nothing short of miraculous.
Yeah.
Then they've also had stipulations placed upon that because each state is handling things differently and handling things better or worse.
The interesting thing here going forward, and I think this is why V'landys will not let the season go, is because he's essentially gone so far as to where he can promise guaranteed payments for players moving forward.
Yeah.
That was one of their big sticking points. If the Broncos tank the season, then this season's broadcast payment's gone. Mm-hmm. That means that the NRL can't pay its contribution to the clubs, which means the clubs can't pay the players.
Mm-hmm.
The RLPA are dumb enough to let the players revolt if that happens.
Yep.
And then we're right back at square one with why didn't you have a slush fund, or why didn't you buy investment properties when no other fucking business in the world buys investment properties with its fucking profit. Yeah. He'll get the remaining Queensland teams. If the Broncos tank it, who knows? He'll fucking invite the Broncos down too.
He'll invite them all. Or you know what? He made us fucking draw a line through the four of them.
Yeah. Or
the Queensland teams plus the Storm based in Queensland.
You reckon the Storm would go down?
Or they'll have a bye for 2 weeks because they're going to need 2 weeks to detox before they can re-enter.
That's it. But who fucking knows? Maybe you're right. He puts a line through all of them and then goes back and says, okay, so everyone that's due to play them, you get the 2 points, and everyone that played them, if you lost to them, we will award you 2 points. It's fucking crazy COVID season. Who fucking cares? Let's go.
Yep. And if that happened, I guarantee you that the Tigers would finish ninth still. I guarantee it. Where are we? Tipping. Okay, so King Kong remains on top of the tipping charts, although he had a down week last week, but still he's back to a 2-point lead, followed by JBB and Matt, and on a blood buzz, tied for second. Then we go back with a bunch of people in logjam there with Andy, Benny89, Nightmare Cowboy, Sneaky Kiwi, and Six again. Being the final top 10 player.
Nice.
What else we got to say? Last week with the Manscaped thing, just want to just quickly say thank you to everybody who purchased their products and who told us about it. And if you purchased and didn't tell us, that's fine too. But we appreciate your support. It went far better than I would have imagined. And now we just play the waiting game to see if it turns into something more. But from all reports, everything is looking good so far. So thank you to everyone especially in this crazy year that we're in.
Yes.
It wasn't a small amount of cash, so really appreciate the support.
And we would appreciate personalised thank you emails from all of your mothers.
Well, yeah. You know what? First things first. We know a number of people who've shown us the boxes when they've received them and everything. Like, look what I got, and that's great. Did anyone actually buy them for their father? That's what I want to know. That's what I put to you guys. Did anyone buy it for their father for Father's Day, or were you all selfish?
Yes.
And bought them. Well, it's not selfish. I mean, it's kind of like for your wife too, though, right? So it's not completely selfish, unless you're like sitting in front of the mirror looking at your hairless fucking yam bag. I mean, if there's some kind of I don't know what the
what did I explain to you at the beginning of the show?
Oh, I don't know. What did you explain?
That's exactly what I've done.
Admiring yourself in the mirror.
My bed is side on to my fucking ensuite. I've gone full fucking dolphin style, and I pretend I'm at the fucking 2024 Olympics, about to fucking dive in. Like the weirdest role play that girls have been involved in.
All right, that's it. On that note, that's it for episode 363. Thanks for listening, everyone. As always, you can interact with us on Twitter, so follow at TWiL League. Facebook Community lives at TWiL Nation, hashtag TWiL Nation. Get in there. The direct link is facebook.com/groups/TWiL Nation. And we're also on facebook.com/This Week in League. So make sure you hit the like button, share the posts and all that sort of shit. Help us spread the word. And if you want to support the show, make sure you drop us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to go the extra mile, our digital memberships are still available and can be picked up at any time for only $3.99 a month. The Manscaped code's probably still working at the moment, and I'm sure that more sales can only be a good thing for our future partnership. So if you buy anything from manscaped.com, make sure you put the code TWiLNation in at checkout, and you'll get yourself 20% off all that good shit. So that's it. It was going to be an express episode. As it turned out, it's the same, if not longer than usual. I knew it would fucking happen with this Broncos shit going on, but I am about to die. So let's pull the pin there.
Done.
And thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Later.